There are a lot of things that you have to do to a gun before pulling the trigger, before it's a danger to anybody. Their only argument is that in the court records, the defense lawyer said that if he was a gun, I pulled the trigger. My mental illness pulled a trigger on his mental illness and caused him to murder somebody. In order to shoot somebody with a gun by pulling a trigger, the gun first has to be purchased. The ammo has to be purchased. The ammo has to be put into the gun. The safety has to be off. The gun has to be cocked, and the gun has to be loaded. Those are 6 full steps that have to be taken before pulling the trigger will take any effect on that gun. These are steps that he had taken in his own personal time before meeting me. When he met me, he lied to me. I met this man online, on Craigslist, because I posted an ad. Because my family was telling me that I needed to find a man to take care of me. Because I had fucked up and married somebody who lied to me. Surprising, isn't it? Everybody lies to me. At 19, I married a man who told me he was a man that loved me and would be with me. And by 21, I found out that man was actually a woman, and he only married me because his family had been putting him in mental hospitals and gay camps, and he was tired of trying to fight them. He needed a mask. He needed a beard. And he didn't tell me I was a beard. He told me I was a wife. A wife that's being used as a beard is extremely hurtful to the woman that doesn't know that she's nothing to this person that she has just promised to give everything to for the rest of her life. When I finally left him, after years of being beat, being cheated on, and being lied to, I was desperate to not be alone. And all my family would tell me was, you need to find another man before you're too old. So I went on Craigslist, and I made a post explaining my mental health conditions, and I needed a man that could take care of me because I couldn't take care of myself. And the man that responded told me that his name was Brian, and he was 28 years old. He was a millionaire, and he could take care of me for the rest of my life. I wouldn't find out until after she was dead that his name wasn't really Brian, or that he was near 40, or that he was a sexual offender, pedophile. I found all of that out way too late. People think they know what happened, and they have no idea. You want to judge me and make me kill myself because my mental illness pulled a trigger on another mentally ill person, without looking into the fact that pulling a trigger does nothing if you have not properly prepared that weapon to kill. The gun itself does nothing. The trigger itself does nothing. There are 6 full steps he had to go through before pulling that trigger did something. Adonis Paul intentionally triggers mentally ill people every day for a living. He gets paid. He is monetized here on YouTube to intentionally trigger mentally ill people. And if anything should happen because of that, he says that it's not his fault because that mentally ill person is responsible for their own mental health. So why was Kenneth McBride not responsible for his own mental health? For his own gun that he loaded and cocked and pointed it? It's rules for thee, but not for me. Adonis Paul can do this every day. He can trigger the mentally ill. If he triggers me into killing myself, he's going to say that it was not his fault because I already had these problems. But then it's entirely my fault that somebody else is dead after the man lied to me about everything and set everything up. It's garbage. If triggering the mentally ill is a crime that you can be put in prison for, Adonis Paul should be put in prison. I'm mentally ill and he has triggered me. He has triggered me to the point that I've hurt myself in the past. He's triggered me to the point of having suicidal thoughts. He's triggered me to the point that I've starved myself. He's triggered me to the point that I've gone without sleep, that I've gone without caring for myself. But he's never held accountable because he says she was already crazy. Kenneth McBride clearly already had a lot going on before meeting me. And if he had been honest, he never would have met me. He would have done this with literally any woman. He was online lying to people. He was looking for somebody to replace her. If it wasn't me that had gotten in with him, it would have been somebody else. He had already planned what he was going to do because he had gotten her pregnant and he didn't want a baby with her because she was so severely disabled that he didn't want to raise a child with her. That's why he was on Craigslist looking for somebody else and lying to women and telling them that he was a millionaire named Brian. I told the truth. I told the truth when I met him, and I told the truth to the police. If Adonis Paul has proof of anything that is not in those court records, then he needs to go to the authorities, but he won't. He keeps going to thousands of people online instead of going to the authorities with what he supposedly knows. What he has found out through 3 years of intentionally triggering me to mental breakdowns that have not resulted in anybody being murdered.